this one you use for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Oh my god.
so this is the anti-aging, but I don't think that's like a problem for me like right now.
It's really important that people remember that when people are selling you things online, they have a vested interest in you buying them.
Hey, I'm Ikra, and this is What's in the World from the BBC World Service. The first time I saw one of these on my timeline, I thought Halloween had come early, I can't lie. These LED skincare masks have been everywhere. They use red light therapy, and they're big markets in Asia, South Africa, the UK, the US. They're definitely the it thing in skincare at the moment, but also pretty misunderstood. So we're going to chat about whether these masks actually work. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to bring in Rio from the What in the World team. And here he is. Rio, you have 3 of these masks, don't you?
Put me on plastic, right? But yes, I bought 3 in total.
So what are you making of them? What has it been like?
So just to give you a quick snapshot, I've always been quite skeptical of these masks, but it wasn't until a few months ago where there was a wedding coming up and I had a lot of acne. I was experiencing a lot of breakouts, so I was really concerned and looking for like a quick fix, you could say.
Yeah.
And I came across a lot of ads on Instagram advertising these products, and I thought, why not give it a go? And I actually found that they worked. It really calmed down my skin and yeah, soothed my skin and my acne. And I've been using it ever since.
Okay, I'm going to pass you this mask because it's actually yours.
Okay.
And just show me how you use it.
So, I've actually given this one to my mum because there's different ones available on the market that are a bit more like powerful. But this one you use for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And
Oh my god.
so this is the anti-aging, but I don't think that's like a problem for me like right now. And whereas blue light is supposed to be for acne.
Oh, okay. And so how long do you use that for? How often as well?
So I would use this. This one's, you're meant to use it for 10 minutes, whereas another one I use, you can only use it for 3 minutes because it's a bit more powerful and targeted.
Okay, Rio, you sound like a bit of a fan then, but I'm going to be a bit of a skeptic back to that. How do you know it's this that's making a difference in making your skin better?
Well, the truthful answer is I don't. During my research before, purchasing it, I did come across a lot of scientific studies that backed up the use of either red or blue light therapy. But a lot of scientists and experts also mentioned that these specific masks don't have the clinical studies to really robustly promote their use. However, it was a risk I was willing to take just because there was a wedding up and coming and I really wanted my skin to
Give it a
calm
go,
down.
why not?
Give it a go. And I've had acne for a lot of my life and it's something that's really affected my confidence, and I use prescription acne products and I've moderated my diet. I was trying my best using other methods and nothing was really impacting my acne. So the truthful answer is I don't know if this is actually reduced my acne and if it's maybe something more psychological, the idea of...
Yeah, I was actually going to say that. How much of the psychology do you think plays into it for you? You're sat there, you're having a relaxing time, a bit like when I put on a face mask, for example. I don't know if it does very much. I don't think it really does, but I feel refreshed because of it.
And I think there's something to say for the psychological benefit. Obviously it's quite an expensive one,
Yeah.
but at the same time, if I've noticed a difference in my skin and if that's solely psychological, then I think it makes it worth it because I think my skin's massively improved since.
Okay, Rio, stick around then. These are your masks, so you probably should stick around. We're going to hear more about them from Imogen. Imogen James from the What in the World team has been doing all the research about these masks. Hey, Imogen.
Hey, how are you?
Yes, I'm good. So for those who don't know, what are these LED skincare masks?
Yeah, so these are typically face masks, full face masks that you put on the one you're holding, or you can get ones like this one. And they emit either red or blue LED lights onto your face. And the claims are improving collagen production, reducing wrinkles and fine lines on your face, and just kind of boosting your skin and making it look better is essentially what they claim to do.
And so when I did see them coming up on my For You page, I kind of felt like, oh my gosh, is this something I should be jumping on as well? You feel the pressure a little bit. Who are they being marketed, targeted towards, though?
So I think that's part of why they're so popular right now, is because they've got this kind of universal appeal. Like I was saying, a lot of the adverts are targeted towards people with skin conditions such as acne, as well as people who are worrying about wrinkles. So that covers a huge amount of people. You know, there's people that are worried about aging perhaps earlier than they need to be, and they think this will get me a head start on that. But also, they just generally are advertised to just make your skin look a bit nicer. So even if you're not suffering with a condition, it can make you think, oh, well, my skin might be nicer anyway, so why not? I think that's part of the reason, why they're so popular right now.
Yeah, most of us have that aspiration of having better skin. They're everywhere at the moment. Why are they so popular? What would you say?
I think there's a few reasons for this. I think obviously the skincare claims is obviously really tempting. You know, they claim in just a few weeks to make your skin look better and to improve these things. So it's obviously quite a tempting thing to get into. So they can help rosacea as well, which is when you have quite red cheeks. It's a skin condition where, you have a bit more colour in your face. Also, there's the cost element of this. So you can get LED therapy in clinics, but at home, this is much cheaper. There's also the convenience of it. This is like what people are considering luxury skincare that feels really nice and fancy, but you can do it at home. It takes 10 minutes. So it's really easy. And, if it's claiming to be so useful, it's kind of seen as a no-brainer.
So obviously they glow red like mine. I think yours glows blue, for anyone who's wondering. But how does this red light therapy actually work? I think we should switch them off as well.
It's very bright.
It's a little bit bright for us.
Okay. So LED light therapy was actually discovered in the 1990s by accident by NASA. They were using it to help grow plants in space, and they discovered that it helped heal their bruises and their cuts on their hands. So from there, it sort of went into the skincare dermatology space. So essentially, LED therapy, it's a practice known as photobiomodulation. So the light stimulates the energy source of the cell, the mitochondria, which improves the cell's function. So basically, light on skin, cells function more, skin gets better. It can involve stimulating new blood vessels, improving the collagen, giving them more energy, and also stimulating anti-inflammatory responses. So in turn, that is targeting things like wrinkles, fresher, healthier looking skin, acne, rosacea. Before the beauty world got a hold of it, dermatologists actually used it for early stage skin cancer as well. So LED therapy in general is a known practice that works. There's two main types, as we've seen. You have a red mask, I had a blue one. So red seems more popular on social media, at least, definitely. I don't know if you've seen, but the masks I normally see are emitting the big red glow.
People like the drama of it.
Yeah. So these are the ones that are typically used to boost collagen and reduce inflammation and give you less wrinkles. That's what they claim. These days you can also see big LED helmets as well. I don't know if you've seen them, which they're aimed at stopping hair loss, so they can help boost the follicles in your head, they claim. So then you have the blue ones, and they penetrate the skin less, and they don't go as deep as the red light masks, and these are the ones that are mainly targeted towards acne and bacterial kind of acne. It's worth saying though that they can't reverse lines, they can't make the skin tighter, but they can maybe after a long period of time, LED lights can make you look a bit fresher and a bit more youthful.
So it's good to hear about the different therapies, the science behind all of it. But when we're talking about skin, people might be thinking, well, not everyone's skin is the same. There's a lot of different skin tones out there. Are these for all skin tones?
They're not. So red light therapy is generally okay for pretty much everyone, skin colour-wise, but it's always recommended for both of them. If you have a skin condition, seek medical advice and make sure that you're checking out properly if they'll work for you. For people with darker skin or perhaps hyperpigmentation, when you have certain patches of darker skin or your skin reacts a bit more to the melanin within, it's generally recommended that you avoid blue light just because it can affect this and it can actually make it worse.
And so we've spoken about how these masks work, some of the science behind them. Not everyone's a fan. What are some of the criticisms of them, though?
So one of the main criticisms, obviously, is that this is at home. So there's a difference between the strength of the LED bulbs that you can get from a clinic between at-home devices. In order to keep it safe for people, companies can't just sell you something with really powerful and high wattage because it wouldn't be safe. So that's the main concern, is it even strong enough to do anything as it would be in a clinic? Does it work at this low level? And that's one of the other issues, is we just don't really know. There's been some studies over the years, but because this is quite a new industry, it's really fastly growing, there's not been enough studies. They're not good enough. They don't include big enough sample sizes, and they've not been done for long enough for us to really know the effects. People have been reporting things, obviously they're popular for a reason. People say they work, but Yeah, we just don't really know. There's a couple other issues, minor. There's a lot of claims about helping acne so fast, but it just won't reverse it at the end of the day. And a lot of the adverts can be quite misleading in this sense. You should also be aware that they can be kind of damaging on your eyes. There's been a mask that was actually recalled because it didn't have enough eye protection. So you just want to make sure you're not using it too much and you're really making sure you're protecting things like your eyes, which are obviously so important. And there's some scientists that say there is no evidence that these work at all. So here's David Robert Grimes. We've been speaking to him. He's a scientist and an author from Ireland.
So red light is part of the light around us all the time. White light is made up of every color that you can imagine in the visible spectrum, including red light, which is a huge proportion of it. So the idea of these red light masks, firstly, it's a little bit unclear why these would be more beneficial than just the regular light you're exposed to in your day-to-day living isn't properly clarified. There's also many different wavelengths of red light, so different shades of red if you want to view it that way. And a lot of these masks use different kinds of wavelengths, and they all claim there's huge benefit to it. But the evidence behind that claim is really, really weak. Because firstly, it's not clear if they're comparing that to the normal dose that a person would get in their every day-to-day life. And they're not giving a clear biological reason why they expect this red light to have a particular effect or not. So a lot of the experiments are poorly designed, that they can't really tell you what they're testing in the first instance. And a lot of them are also done by companies that have a vested financial interest in selling these LED masks.
So is that right, what David is saying? What evidence do we have about whether these masks work?
Yeah, so as I was saying a bit before, because it's a relatively new practice, there just isn't that much research on these masks. Dermatologists have previously told the BBC that there's just not been trials with big enough sample sizes to, get accurate evidence from them. Studies say that while there's promising signs, much more research needs to be done for us to concretely say that these are doing what they say they're doing on the tin, basically. It's mostly considered safe, which is the good news, so you're not really going to do any damage, but you just might not see the results that you're hoping to get from the advertising.
Okay, but dermatologists do say that LED light therapy has an effect on skin. It's just that most studies focus on the devices used in salons rather than the ones you can buy to use at home. And so this is Dr. Montserrat Fernandez Guarino, who's in Madrid.
This kind of mask needs repeated session. So to obtain results in acne, you need to use the mask 3 times a week and for 6 or 8 weeks. So they works photobiomodulation. This works supposed to decrease redness, decrease inflammation, but normally we don't use this kind of therapy as the only therapy when we treat acne. The light has obviously an effect on the skin because we live in light, and red light has an effect too. I have proved it, I have seen it in the lab. When you apply red light, blue light to cells suffer changes. So it is very hard to say that there is no effect, because obviously there is. The vision of that person, of that scientist, is that the biological effect, it is not so strong. I agree with this. As I told you, it is a way to improve the normal mechanism that we see in the skin, but it is not so strong. But obviously it has an effect. And in the case of acne, obviously it is not the only therapy, but it could be a complementary therapy.
Okay, so my takeaway from this is that there is reasonable evidence that LED light therapy has some effect on skin. We just don't know about the LED skincare mask that you can use at home because there's not enough evidence in this area yet. Imogen, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, I hope you guys learned a little bit more about LED skincare masks and whether they're right for you. Comment below if you've used them or you're interested in them. We love reading your comments. Speaking of your comments, I wanted to shout out Kate, who left a comment on our YouTube video about whether birth order affects personality. She said, "I'm an only child and we have the best life." I'm loving that confidence, Kate. But for now, I'm Ikra. This is What's in the World from the BBC World Service, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.